with the rest of SLT. We voted on who had the best speech. Stewie became our president.
Thank you, Sue.
Hi, I'm Annabella Maggiolino, one of the SLT Student Leadership Team officers at Everett Elementary School. Everett is so unique in so many ways. This year we started an SLT that replicates democracy, representing all student voices at Everett. We have elected representatives that volunteered to come in early once a month before the school day starts to talk about how students can make Everett the best. Thank you. Hi, my name is Colby Makovic, and I am one of the vice presidents of the SLT. One of our many jobs in the SLT is to go into assigned classrooms and listen to the students inside. Some feedback I got from Ms. Thomas's third grade class is that we should have optional math books that we can take home, a longer lunch, and more class parties. The SLT for our next board meeting would also like to ask for permission to bring our comfort dog Moose to the next board meeting. Thank you.
So the SLT is asking for permission when we present in April to be able to bring Moose here in April. So is that okay? Okay. All right, thank you.
This doesn't like me very much yet.
Even better.
Absolutely, Moose.
Okay.
Can come here too.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much. We're so proud of this team, and I would like one more slide, if we could just go one more slide. These are all of our elected members, and they are here tonight. So friends, if you could just stand, and if we could just give you a big round of applause for your service.
My friends, I also wanted to tell you that I sent the video of you singing Happy Birthday to my mom to her, and she loved it. So thank you for helping me give her that special prize.
So you are welcome to stay for the superintendent's report, but your report was better. So you are also welcome to go home and continue with your evening however you would like this evening. But you are more than welcome to stay if that's how you want to spend your evening with us. We'd love to have you.
I do want to tell you about this dog really quickly. So Moose is the new therapy dog at Everett. And I love dogs as much as I love children, maybe children a little more. And I went into the office for the first time, and the dog is not wild about me. So I start to take this personally, because dogs love me, just like children love me. It's just supposed to happen. So I'm like rolling around on the floor. I'm trying to find treats, and the dog is not. I'm bringing more treats next time I go, because I will win. But Moose is adorable, and the kids adore that he is a part of the community every day. It's really cool. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Okay, I will move into my report. Thank you so much. There are 4 components to my report, some of which I alluded to in our workshop earlier. The first one is the road to academic excellence. Second one really dovetails from the first into the recent Let's Talk Learning. Then we'll move into touch point on the Capitol Facilities, which is a community forum with 115. You will hear me bring up what's happening in that district more frequently. our students are advancing oftentimes to 115, and we want to make sure that our parents are aware. And then I'll finish with the D67 APT food drive. Beginning with the road to excellence, it is no surprise that there was a recent report card that was released on October 27th, the Illinois School Report Card from the Illinois State Board of Education. This is a compilation of the education data from the schools and the districts throughout the state that provides a detailed look at each school's progress on academic, student success, school culture and climate, and financial investments. Since joining the district in 2021, I have made a concerted effort to dive deeply into our internal data to better understand our strengths and our opportunities. From these observations, we have undertaken our Portrait of a Learner, which you've heard about me talk numerous times. We're in the midst or in the throes of our strategic planning. We have a K-8 reading program review underway that started last January, as well as a new middle school math program and the engagement of our instructional coaches. You can see on this screen that there are 4 possible designations for the report card. The first one being exemplary, second commendable, targeted needs, and then the lowest level, which is the comprehensive needs. All of our buildings in 67 are rated commendable, and there are multiple measures that are listed underneath the section beneath it, ranging from proficiency in ELA and math, as well as growth in ELA and math, and ELA is English Language Arts, as well as our science proficiency, absenteeism, and then a climate survey that happens for our community that is included in this report. This is the first designation or the first rating that districts have received since 2019, and you should know that the state revamped the report card for this release, and because it's completely reworked, it is difficult to compare previous report card designations with this one. So that's an important note that you cannot easily transfer, because it really is apples to oranges because of all of the changes that they have made to the reporting structure. When we talk through what our expectations are and reflect on what the data says, it is important that the current report card data does not reflect what we expect from our schools. And you heard me talk about that, or some of you heard me talk about that in a short video from the District 411, which is a new publication we are releasing on a bi-weekly basis, and I'm exceptionally proud of that work that Mrs. Oakley is leading, because it's a way to synthesize, I'm doing a sidebar now, we're synthesizing multiple different email communications and putting it in a bi-weekly report, and then you'll see little video announcements from me and from others. In the most recent educational 411, I talked about that we have been engaging in the work around our data. I own the data, and it is my promise to you to deliver with our team a plan for improvement and also celebrate the great things that are happening. So we will celebrate what's going really well and also take a close look at where we can grow and improve. We have been addressing this work together with our teachers and staff, and we have looked at this most recently in all the buildings. So for example, November 7th, Cherokee, Everett, and Sheridan looked at the data. On November 11th, we had an all-staff institute day. If you remember, those of you who are parents know that your students were home 2 days, once for election and once for the institute day last week. And then at DPM, we had a meeting at the CII time, which is when the students have the early release. So we had an all-staff meeting that I participated in to look at the data at DPM as well. While we expected these results, and we've instituted some changes already, the pace in which the changes are being made is going to be accelerated in response to the recent release of data. And what that means is the reading review study will continue to progress at a very fast pace. We are looking at minor changes that we can make in terms of uniformly applying phonics through K2, that each elementary is uniformly instituting that programming, and then what changes we can make with formative assessment as well as summative assessment this year. Formative assessment, because I don't want to use jargon for you, formative assessment is those smaller check-ins, and then the summative assessment is like at the end of a unit. So that would be the concluding event of a different unit of study. So after, we're not going by the book, but look, so chapter 1, there'd be an end of chapter test. That would be a summative assessment, and then a formative would be multiple quizzes along the way. That's oversimplifying it, but at least gives you an idea of what I mean when I talk about revamping how we are checking in with students through formative assessments. We are committed, deeply committed to educational excellence, and we will continue to keep you updated and invite your continued engagement and support as we progress through this journey. That was exemplified with our recent Let's Talk Learning, which was 2 weeks ago, I believe, or it was on November 3rd. And we invited the community in to talk through what changes we've been making, what work we are undertaking in response to academic excellence. This was right around the release of the report card, but this was planned well in advance of the report card release. It just fell together nicely where we had just processed that data real time. We had representatives from all of the levels, from the cabinet level to the building level, director level, cabinet, director, and building level to facilitate questions from our community. And we had, I don't know, approximately, I want to say 30 to 40 folks in attendance. There were questions that were submitted in advance as well as questions that were real time. We are working on synthesizing some of the questions we did not get to address during that time frame, and that will be shared district-wide in the coming days. There were a lot of questions, so it is taking a little bit of time. It is in the order of to-dos. We promise that we will get that out, and we're trying to look at the questions and theme them. So we're kind of packaging them so people can easily see what people were most concerned about in that process. I want to thank the administrators who participated in this work as well, because without them, we couldn't have put on this night. The Let's Talk series, remember, are hot topic issues that we are hearing questions about, and we're inviting community members in so they feel as if they have an avenue in which they can have real talk with us, and they're not limited to the podium at the board meeting events. And we can see that I think that initiative has been working. We will continue to offer these programmings, and they're organic in nature about what we are getting asked about the most. I will quickly touch on the community forum, which happened last night, and that is where we unveiled our master facilities plan for an anticipated referendum for 115 for the April 23 ballot. That session announced that on December 6th, I will be asking or recommending the board to pass a resolution to put the ballot or put the issue on the ballot in April. The total cost for that, this was also unveiled last night, is $105.7 million for the project. Focusing on maintaining our excellence, there is very few extras in the plan. It was more of a what we need versus what we want. And we went through many different processes and proposals to figure out what was the right number, but know that we are focusing on infrastructure. I think 52% of the plan is solely infrastructure. So that's HVAC, that's lighting, that's windows, that's mechanical, electrical. We want to make sure that that building stays open for the next 20 plus years. And we acknowledge that the street appeal of that building is deceiving with it's misleading in that it's an 87-year-old building with 87-year-old bones that need to be taken care of on a regular basis. So you will learn more about that. In fact, you'll hear me talk about it an awful lot more in the coming weeks and months. I will finish tonight talking about the 67 APT Thanksgiving Food Drive. A special thanks goes to our District 67 APT and the work that they did for organizing this event. Special thanks to Kristen McCain for her leadership on this year's food drive, and to Croya for hosting our massive meal bag pack-up. And as I look at the numbers, over 700 complete meal bags were packed, a new record. The goal was to provide 500 meals for Lake County families in need. Nearly 10,000 pounds of food was collected. Over 100 students and families volunteered to package the meals for Lake County families in need. And our partners at Beacon Place, Cool Food Pantry, the North Chicago Community Partners, and the Church Holy Spirit Food Pantry were this year's recipients. This is amazing work, and I think that the act of service shouldn't be limited to November, and it's nice to see the community come together, much like the Grateful Market last month, where we have wrapped our arms around those folks with the greatest needs and offered our support. So I want to thank everybody who participated. That is the conclusion of my superintendent's report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Just on the data, my understanding is that next month we will do a deeper dive into some of that. Is that right?
Is correct, and Mrs. Oakley had that as a note for me to say, and I forgot, forgive me. Dr. Shin will be with us at the December meeting for a full assessment report. That happens every December, so this is just a foreshadowing of that. It will be we'll take a close look at where we're falling, so we are transparent with our community and educate them on what the scores are saying.
Just to kind of dovetail into Annie's question, you had mentioned something about the data itself changing as part of that report. What specific things had changed from other past report cards?
The baseline data from 2019 is, had it gone sequentially, they would have used the 2019 data to show growth in 2020, but since 2020 and 21 were off, they recalibrated that baseline from 2020. So some of the growth, it's not necessarily the way it would have been if it was sequentially each year.
The categories in which we're assessed didn't change. It was just more of that gap in the, okay.
Correct.
Thank you, Dr. McHugh.
I just want to reiterate that the superintendent and Dr. McHugh are taking the state report card very seriously, and they are working with our staff and teachers to collaboratively move forward. As Dr. Montgomery eloquently stated, it does not show that we are deficient, but it does show that maybe there's some things that we need to not focus on, but pay attention to. And moving forward, maybe we should look into more educating our students on how to take a standardized test and that sort. So thank you both. And for the D-115 referendum, I also wanted to point out that 67 will be going through some construction of our own, but the referendum does not apply to 67. Thank you.
You said that, Rich, because last night one of the first questions was, is 67 planning on putting a referendum on the ballot anytime in the next 5 years? And it was an emphatic no. And I was happy to be able to address that real time. I also will tell you that the capital improvement plans that we are looking at for 67 is coming out of our general funds. And those discussions, you heard a little bit about Cherokee in the President's report. You'll hear more about it next month. Those are independent from the referendum and solely coming out of operating funds.
We now come to our first opportunity for public participation. At this point, the board would hear from the public, would hear public comment subject to Board Policy 2-230. The Lake Forest Boards of Education welcome public attendance and participation at all of our meetings, and it is hoped that by utilizing these guidelines, participation will be maximized both in terms of fairness and organization. At this point in this evening's meeting, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, we will move forward to our reports. And our first report this evening is Safety and Security Assessment Update.
Hi, my name is Paul Tim. I'm the Vice President of Physical Security Services for Facility Engineering Associates, and we were tasked with conducting the physical security assessments for each one of the buildings. As you can imagine, since the Uvalde tragedy and the Highland Park tragedy, which occurred in May and then in July, our lives have not been our own. And to the credit of Dan especially, I want to mention he has fought for every minute that we have spent with you guys, not just in assessing the facilities, but then coming back and observing the operations and all of the follow-up since. And I say that with admiration. I do want to talk about the background of our firm so you understand the credentials that we bring to it. I have a physical security professional credential. In the security industry, it's very similar to what you would have as a CPA in the accounting industry. I earned it in the first group ever in 2003 to test for that credential and have maintained it ever since. I wrote a book in 2015. It's all about school security, so I decided to call it School Security. You have to call it what it is or people can't find it. It will not be a New York Times bestseller, but I want everyone to know that my mom really likes it. It did well enough in the K through 12 arena that I was asked to write a second edition, which was then published last year. My colleague, Randy Braverman, has also been in every one of your buildings. Randy is a former school resource officer and a former security director. He also teaches statewide for the Illinois Terrorism Task Force School Security Subcommittee. So anything having to do with behavioral threat assessment, active shooter, et cetera, Randy is a statewide trainer for Illinois. We conducted visits both in the summer and in the fall so we could see the buildings in a way that would not disturb operations, and then come back in detail, and then come back and actually observe the buildings with operations. We were thankful to not find exterior doors propped open. We were thankful to find any number of especially detection elements that were operating very well. The reports that we put together included findings and recommendations that detailed those things that were already operating at an effective level, and then those things that were operating at a partially effective level that we want to try to improve. And the whole idea in security is this: we can never have perfect security. There's no such thing as a risk level of 0. But we do have a certain risk level today, and we want to reduce it as much as possible. For that, we looked at the elements of deterrence, which simply means discouraging somebody from wanting to act out. Detection, which would mean how we know that something is happening and can intervene or prevent. Delay, which simply means slowing the path of an adversary. And then finally, response, and who would be reacting to an incident, what kind of credentials, certifications, and qualifications, and then finally tools do they have at their disposal. That was the process that we undertook, and for that we brought a door hardware manufacturer. Most of your hardware in this district is supplied by one door hardware manufacturer. I'm not going to advertise for them, but we brought out somebody from that level. That person does not sell, but has an idea of how the systems, how the products are operating, and then can make sure that you've got a direction if you're needing to address any maintenance or training issues. They also become a resource because the person is based locally to help the district as the weeks and months move forward. Once we put together the reports with all the findings and recommendations, we prioritize them. And one of the things that Dan asked is, can we have that in a document that we can work with instead of the PDF, so that we can add a few extra columns assigning responsibility, timelines, et cetera. And at that point, I offered him a job, but he said he was going to stick with the district. That's what we did with the reports. Some of the issues that we found were addressed immediately. Some have been addressed over time, and there is a game plan being put together to make sure that it's a continuous improvement process. That would be what we're talking about when we say initiatives, and who will be responsible for those initiatives is the final category. And those were the main highlights of the project. I would like to say that I could give you a bat phone so I can continue with you forever. I told Dan instead I'm just going to be available as much as possible. questions?
Seeing none, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and efforts and the care in which you did the work for us.
Thank you.
And as a reminder to the board and to the public, we talked more about this in executive earlier tonight. And next month, the board will convene again at the December 13th meeting, and there will be specific recommendations on the report that will be shared in executive, and we will make some decisions in December and likely continue the discussion at our next meeting following that, which will be in February.
And not to, I mean, it may be obvious to people, but the reason that we're discussing this in executive is obviously because it's a safety and security strategic plan that we don't necessarily want to put out to the general public for the safety of our schools.
Thank you for saying that.
And thus no questions, so we want to keep it to ourselves for now. And thank you, Dan and Paul. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Moving on to our board committee reports. The first one is the Board of Education Committee, which will be meeting on Thursday in 2 days here at West Campus. The second committee is our Board Finance and Ops Committee. Our chair, Alice Levert, is not with us this evening, but that committee will be meeting next on December 7th here at West Campus. And next we come to the Policy Committee. Mr. Chun.
The Policy Committee is set to meet on December 12th tentatively at 4:30 to 6:30 here on West Campus.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. That brings us to our liaison reports. The first liaison report this evening is True North Educational Cooperative 804. A lot going on at True North. We are in the final phases of our strategic planning process and the development of a 5-year strategic plan. It will go to the Leadership Council for final feedback in December and approval in February. The Leadership Council does not meet in January. Coming up on December 15th, the True North Department of Learning will present and host their Innovation Showcase for member districts and non-member districts. This is an opportunity for all of the new services that they have developed to be shared so that districts can decide if it is something that they want to partake in and take advantage of. Mind you, these innovations are developed based on feedback from the member districts. All of the fall profile meetings have happened, which is where a lot of the feedback and connection happens between our member districts and True North. And we just approved at the November 9th meeting the Phase 1 facilities plan improvements, which will use $2.7 million of True North fund balance in order to do some renovations on Red Oak campus, which will allow us to bring North Shore Academy Elementary onto that campus. And provide a space for them. We have a leased space that has been used for that program for a number of years, and the landlord is taking back the space in July, which sort of fast-forwarded some of the facility planning that had been going on already. And Phase 2 will be further discussed as we continue to move forward, and how to finance Phase 2 will be a big item for discussion. You may have noted in the report that we also are pursuing the school maintenance project grant that our district will be taking some action on later this evening. We're doing that at True North as well because we found out that we can do that. And they have also been awarded a grant for Elevating Educators, which is a special education grant where they can work on teacher retention and development using that money. So all great news. The next Leadership Council meeting is December 14th at 7 p.m., so I will have a busy week. Next up is our legislative liaison, Mr. Carrar.
Good evening, thank you. I just want to say first, thank you to our president for going ahead and representing District 67 at this weekend's IESB legislative delegation. So thank you for carrying the water for all of us. Not a whole lot to report on this month. I don't have a report within the agenda. After the elections, we'll be moving into the lame duck sessions. So I don't believe there's a whole lot planned for right now in Illinois, but you never know. They move pretty quickly on certain items. I think to focus on other legislative priorities, but we'll keep eyeing it. Ed Red will keep eyeing it, and I'm sure IASB will take and carry some of the water for us moving forward on that as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Spirit of 67 Foundation, Mr. Chun.
I do not have a report to submit or report to the board this evening. Thank you.
And Executive APT, Jennifer.
I just want to reiterate what Matt shared. 700 bags were collected from our food drive, which was outstanding. I just want to quickly shout out to Rosie Smith, Yvonne George, Carrie Cole, Carolyn Iberman, Elizabeth Lemmy, Ivan Georges, Jacqueline Smith, Jinsey Phillips, Alex Cherry, and Linda Hall, and Kristen McCain and Kristen Crothers. They were the spearheads on that, and so that was great. And then also just to make everybody aware, I know I mentioned this last time, but it's coming up at the end of this month, November 29th at 7 o'clock at the Braves Gym at DPM. It's the Run, Hide, Fight Community Safety Series. And then there's also one on January 17th, same time, 7 to 8:30 at DPM Gym, to talk about internet safety. So parents might want to get their calendars out and mark those dates out. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you. Next up, we have our action items for this evening, and our first action item is the adoption of a 2022 tentative tax levy and the establishment of a tax levy hearing date. May I have a motion to adopt the 2022 tentative tax levy and establish a tax levy hearing date?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Jen, would you like to give our community at large just a quick overview of the process?
I'd be happy to. This is, as you mentioned, the tentative tax levy. The board will not take final action tonight. Again, that is the word tentative. The board will be taking final action on December 13th. In between those two dates, we will be meeting as a Finance and Ops Committee to review specifically how these scenarios look at various adoption amounts. So everyone is welcome to join us for that particular event. Once the board does adopt a final levy in December, we then will submit that to the county, and they will continue their process then to put that on the tax rolls.
And for the community's edification, at our workshop this evening, we got a tax levy 101. We had that conversation together. So are there any questions right now before we take our vote? Carl, go ahead.
So clarification, the vote tonight would just be, it's not a binding percentage. We are really just setting it. The number may go up, may go down, depending on whatever comes out of the operations.
Correct. You have the full ability to change the amount that you adopt in December. So it is tentative, meaning it can be changed up. Well, you can't really change it up because it is set right now at the max, but it could be changed down.
Thank you.
May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Mr. Carrar?
Aye.
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, we have the approval of the Allerton Hill contract renewal in the amount of $30,000. May I have a motion to approve the Allerton Hill contract renewal in the amount of $30,000?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Carrar?
Aye.
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, we have the approval of Modern Media Tech LLC contract in the amount of $145,790 for elementary school camera upgrades. May I have a motion to approve the Modern Media Tech LLC contract in the amount of $145,790 for elementary school camera upgrades?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions about this investment?
This is just also part of the ongoing security features that we're trying to do to improve safety and security at our schools. And this addresses 2 of the elementary schools since we've already done Deer Path, correct, sir?
That is correct, but we also have Jordan streaming in right now, so I'm going to have him talk a little bit more about it as well.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I had planned on being there in person tonight. That is correct. This is for Sheridan and Everett Elementary School. We have plans drawn up for Cherokee Elementary School, but the issue we ran into is that if we do construction on Cherokee this summer, it would involve relocating our network closets, and we would wind up rewiring approximately 90% of the cameras to do that. So we were going to hold off on Cherokee until and do it with that project.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Mr. Carrar?
Aye.
Ms. Banal?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, we have a contract for some door fob upgrades. May I have a motion to approve the Modern Media Tech LLC contract in the amount of $60,925 for door fob upgrades and replacement?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Jordan, do you want to speak to this before we take questions?
Absolutely. So this is replacing our current door fob system, and this is across all of our buildings. Our current system is a Siemens system. It's no longer supported by the manufacturer for updates or even technical support at this point, so the system needs a replacement. When we went into this, we looked at a upgrade path through Siemens, and then we also investigated an upgrade path with Ricata, which is, as you just voted on, the holder of or the provider of our security cameras. This system integrates really nicely with our security camera systems. It's cloud hosted. It's more responsive. And quite frankly, we haven't been super happy with the reliability of some of our Siemens door controllers, which would still be in use after this. So all in all, this should lead to a significantly more modern, easy to use, secure, and reliable system.
Are there any questions? Carl, go ahead.
One question, how expandable is this? Can it expand to, I guess as the security report comes back, can we go to multiple doors, or is this kind of focused on what we have today?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's expandable. You could put as many doors in here as you want, right? You could do every door in the district if you so chose. The specific equipment we're putting in right now are for more large and exterior doors. So each controller that goes in can control up to 4 doors, but you can put in as many controllers as we would want. So it is as expandable as we could ever need it. And easily expandable, which is a big part of us preferring this vendor.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Ms. Banal?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Mr. Carrar?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next
Mrs.
up,
Sands, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to thank Jordan. He is under the weather as well as some of his family, and he made time to call in to make sure that we were informed on that. So I just want to thank him for his time.
thank you, Jordan.
Happy to call in.
Have a lovely evening. Next up, we have the approval of the ISBE School Maintenance Project Grant for FY 2023. May I have a motion to approve the ISBE School Maintenance Project Grant for FY 2023?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. For the public's awareness, Jen, would you like to describe for us what this is about?
Sure, this is an annual grant that's available through the State Board of Education for up to $50,000 of matching funds related to a maintenance related or tech maintenance related projects. It's no coincidence that this was just after the 2 action items you had, because this year we are applying for this and using it to offset our costs related to the security cameras. We thought there was no better way and better method this year to use those particular funds. So you take Jordan's overall cost and subtract the $50,000 from the state, and it becomes much more affordable.
I like that coupon. Any questions? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Ms. Banal?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Mr. Carrar?
Aye.
Ms. Helms? Aye. Motion carries.
Next up, we have approval of a cooperative team sponsorship with Lake Bluff Middle School. May I have a motion to approve the IESA application for cooperative team sponsorship with Lake Bluff Middle School?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. So it's my understanding that what this agreement does is it allows Lake Bluff middle schoolers who would like to participate in wrestling and do not have access to that within their school programming to join our wrestling team, in a nutshell.
Correct. And there was a
Excellent.
question from Annie previously about liability that Dr. Hermes addressed via email to ensure that we were covered in terms of a liability standpoint.
Are there any other? And it's my understanding this has been a historical practice for a number of years.
Correct.
Any other questions?
If we win the trophy, does it go to DPM or where does it hang?
It'll be shared because we love our 65 family.
Thank you.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Mr. Farrar?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, we have the consent agenda. As a reminder, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. Tonight's consent agenda includes approval of disbursements, payrolls, and financial statements from July 2022, and approval of our human resources report. Would anyone like to remove an item from tonight's consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
And may I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Sands?
Aye.
Mr. Farrar?
Aye.
Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Mr. Chun?
Aye.
Ms. Mason?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We had 2 FOIA requests this month. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Both from Jeffrey Brincat. One is in progress and one was completed. This is our second opportunity for public participation. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we come to our announcements. Wednesday, November 23rd through Friday, November 25th is Thanksgiving breaks. There is no school for students or staff. Tuesday, December 13th, December 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. here in West Campus is our next Board of Education meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the City of Lake Forest School District 67 Board meeting for November 15th, 2022?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a voice vote, please? All in favor say aye.
Aye.